In Look East tonight, as one of the biggest events in the racing calendar gets underway, concerns are raised over a dramatic rise in the number of stable workers needing financial and medical support. Hello from Carol and me.
Also tonight, shock for a community as a third soldier in 6 weeks is killed in Afghanistan.
The money and nominations are in. Now we know who will stand in Norwich North.
And the cancer-fighting plants which have impressed judges at the Hampton Court Flower Show. First tonight, as the July Festival gets underway in Newmarket, there's growing concern over the so-called forgotten people.
Horse racing attracts the very rich, but employs hundreds of people who are struggling to make ends meet. More than 8,000 people in Britain are employed in the stables. Nearly half of them work in Newmarket, and many are running into trouble. The problems range from worries about money to dealing with accidents and injuries.
It's 8:30 in the morning, rush hour on the Newmarket Gallops. The stable lads and lasses have been up since dawn. It's a tough, dangerous and responsible job. The racehorses can weigh half a tonne and in some cases cost millions of pounds. But there's no danger money for the stable staff. On average, they get just £12,000 a year for risking life and limb. Like Adrian Johnson, who's been told never to ride again. He suffered a broken back after being thrown from his horse.
As I was stood there, he went straight up on his hind legs, went straight up in the air, and his back legs went from underneath him, and the horse come down on top of me. I landed on my back with the horse right on top of me, and I still had my feet in the stirrups.
Adrian, whose partner is expecting a baby, got just 2 weeks sick pay from his trainer. Over the years, he's worked for several trainers in Newmarket and always been registered. But on this occasion, he wasn't. This is the trainer's responsibility.
I wasn't entitled to my insurance, which is called rehabs, which a racing thing do. They take £1.75 out of your wages every week. And because I wasn't actually contributing at the time, I wasn't entitled to my rehabs, which I've paid into for 19 years.
The charity Racing Welfare is helping Adrian and more people in racing. Last year, 1,300 stable staff from past and present needed support, a huge increase of 180% on the previous year.
Obviously, there is the current economic climate, and that's made it very difficult for people who are already on perhaps quite a minimum wage. Sourcing accommodation in rural areas is always expensive. Accidents, injuries, trying to get services from the state, everything is costing money.
With 6 a.m. starts, 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week, it's not the most family-friendly profession. Childcare is a big issue.
We have a very high percentage of girls in racing, and obviously they want to have young families. In Newmarket, which is home of British racing, we have no nurseries that would start early enough, because a standard day starts before 6 a.m. and it's a 7-day week.
So who is responsible for looking after the stable staff? Well, ultimately the trainers. Chris Wall says things have improved, but concedes there are issues.
One of the biggest problems in Newmarket is a lack of suitable accommodation, particularly for very young staff who've just left home. But other problems here is the sheer amount of racing and the hours that everybody has to work. I mean, it's actually become a tougher job as years have gone by, rather than becoming an easier one.
Stable staff do have their own union, but it's still very much an industry where it's best to keep quiet. Maybe that's why they've been referred to as the forgotten people of racing. Jonathan Park, BBC Look East, Newmarket.